We need to know how to communicate. But what does that really actually mean? What does that mean to you?
Communication is speaking, listening, comprehension.
Welcome to the Pure Intentions podcast, where real love, raw emotions, and intentional relationships come together. Welcome to Pure Intention podcast, where we talk everything relationship from an intentional point of view. I am your host, Chrissy A.
And I'm your co-host, Sir Anthony.
And today we're going to talk about communication.
Yes.
Communication is the one thing, like, I feel like when you ask someone what it is that they value in relationships, I think the new wave is, we need to know how to communicate. But what does that really actually mean? What does that mean to you?
Communication is speaking, listening, comprehension. And all of those three pieces are important because you need to be able to talk to someone instead of the shutdown. Then the other person needs to be able to listen. And for me, the most important piece is the comprehension of what's said. So just because you could talk all day long, but the person doesn't understand what you said to them. So the comprehension piece is most important. It's important in all those pieces versus just talking, listening. You still have to understand.
Well, I'm glad you gave that definition because I completely agree. Now, there are a couple of styles of communication, and I think to be an effective communicator, you do need to know what style of communication you and your partner has. There's the direct style of communication, and then there's indirect. A person who shows a direct style of communication, typically they leave no room for interpretation. It's like they say exactly how they feel, what they need from you without any guessing. Indirect style of communication is typically the person who doesn't really communicate exactly what they feel. They'll communicate bits and pieces and where it does leave room for interpretation, but they feel as if what they have said was good enough for you to understand where they're coming from. What type of communicator do you believe you? Why did you laugh?
Because I thought I was direct until you told me that I was indirect.
Wait. I told you that, or I gave you the definitions of it. I did. I told you why I feel like you're indirect.
Okay, repeat that then. Why do you feel that I'm an indirect communicator? Because I feel that I'm a direct. But enlighten me.
Okay, let's just be clear on one thing. There is no wrong way to communicate. The whole point of understanding your partner's communication style is so that you know how to approach certain situations of conflict. So the reason I feel like that you have a more indirect style is because you have this shutdown mode. And what you do is when you feel like that, you go straight to like the problem solving without actually, the problem solving for men is different from problem solving for women. So your solution is just let it go and be happy. Like, no, you have a let it go, be happy type of approach. It's like, let's not deal with
dwell
this.
in it.
But okay.
That's the key word.
I get the not dwelling in it, but when you're in the situation of a feeling in that moment, you can't tell someone not to dwell in it because we're living in that situation right now. It's like you go to the non-confrontational. You feel like it's confrontational when I speak how I feel to you about something that happened that you were a part of the causing of it. I'm not going to say you caused it, but you were a part of it. You played a role in it.
Okay.
And it's like, it goes to the, I really don't want to hear this shit right now. Like, I think your mind does that. Like, why she just can't just, like, let this shit go. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you'll avoid full out conversation and go straight to a let's just let it go for non-confrontation. So that's why I feel like that some of your communication style is
Indirect.
indirect.
Okay, I'll accept that because I am trying to. Why not? Why dwell in it? It's gonna only further agitate the situation, what I feel, and agitate me. And why not? Let's go to here's the problem that you told me. Here is a solution. Does it work for both of us? And let's implement it. So I guess I will be indirect.
Yeah. Now, there are positives and negatives with being direct versus indirect. Being a direct communicator, typically there's, like I said, there's no room for guessing. So you're understanding what this person needs, how they feel, and everything from jump. Like there's no guesswork done. Whereas to there no, and there's also the negative. It's a negative to everything. So the negative could be being direct can come off as being harsh at some points. It can come off as aggression instead of directness.
Okay.
Also, there's positive and negative to being indirect. The positive to being indirect is not being confrontational, so to avoid conflict as much as possible. But then also the negative would be misunderstanding. So now I don't really understand what you want from me or what you need from me because you're not directly telling me, and it's guesswork there. So, first step to communication is definitely identifying what type of communicator you are. So it's very important that you know what type of communicator you are and what type of communicator your partner is, so that whenever you guys get into conflict, it can be, if it ever comes up in conflict, you would know how to work around that, or you can understand them just a little bit better. And maybe a person that is indirect, you let them know, like, what do you need from me? Explain to me what you need from me, and you can do those problem solving skills. Another point you touched on when you talked about what you felt communication was, healthy communication was listening. And I want to talk a little bit more about what that looks like, because I feel like, me personally, that sometimes when you're in some sort of conflict with your partner or with anybody for that matter, and you have your thought, your mind made up of what your right is, that it leads to more conflict because I say my piece and I just want you to accept it, and I want to explain it to where you're just like, oh, okay, that makes sense, I'm wrong. Whereas to you say your piece and you probably expecting the same thing from me, because it's like, okay, now that you said what you had to say, let me tell you why that's wrong. And then if we're both feeling like the other person is wrong, that means that we're not really actively listening to understand the person. What do you feel about listening during conflict? Like, I know everybody deals with listening problems during conflictual situations, but what are your viewpoints on that?
You know what I think that we should do with the listening phase? If you're talking, don't make it so long and put in so many different twist and turn topics that as I'm sitting here listening, now I'm losing track, because one, I'm trying to remember all of these things if I'm listening to respond, which is not right, but we do it. But I want to address all of these things. So you might say point A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and I'm losing track because it's so many things. You went on this long monologue that at some point I checked out. So I think a healthy thing in listening is, if you really want me to hear you, stick on that one point and maybe not do it as long, and then allow me to respond or allow me to process that. Because if you go from this to this to this to that, the point that you're on now, you lost me at the first one because you went through so many different topics. So it's hard to keep up. And then when I remember it, it's later on in the argument, oh, remember when you said, and then I can bring that up. But then it's also defeating the point of listening, because so many things you got out, I checked out at some point. Or I'm trying to remember all of those to have a rebuttal to those things. So maybe in the listening process is just stay on point to that. Let's hash that out. And when that's done, move to the next topic.
The explanation that you gave was basically when I'm talking wait a minute. No. We just gonna use me and you.
Okay.
So when I'm talking for your listening skills, you need me to hurry up and say what I have to say.
Don't take it as hurry up.
Okay.
Don't be so long-winded. Because there's a difference.
But how would you...
Get it out in 30 seconds is not right, because then you won't get the essence of what you want to say out. But speaking on that one thing for 10 to 20 minutes...
That's an exaggeration.
For 10 minutes.
That's an exaggeration.
For 5 minutes.
The thing is, because this is obviously a problem that we have. Like, we're not going to pretend. The podcast is technically supposed to be about resolving issues, and we chose to put our own life issues in here. And I want to be authentic with our audience, because to me, that's how they'll learn, and they probably can relate to us. Even in your explanation of listening and responding, what you're telling me is we're talking about listening skills, and you're trying to fix my communication skills instead of saying, let me listen to what she's saying. You know what I mean? It's not that I'm long-winded. It's just you don't want to hear it.
It's a combination of the two.
So what I don't do is change the communication of what we're talking about. What you say that I do is I will repeat the same thing over and over again.
Yes.
So if I'm repeating the same thing over and over again, from my point of view, is because I'm getting no response from you, and I don't think that you understood or heard me. So when I become long-winded, it's because I don't feel like that what I felt, what I've expressed that I felt from you is being heard. Okay. Because there is no response. And I think that goes back to the passive, the indirect way of communication. Because it's like I have this direct way of communication and you're more indirect. So it kind of clashes at points because we are learning that about each other. Mm-hmm. Like that's not something we learned about each other until today, you know. So I'm gonna give you a chance to piggyback off of what I said if you have anything.
Well, we got to keep it real in this podcast because we had a conversation where I would check out when you get repetitive. It might not be said exactly the same way, but it's said differently multiple times. And that's just something I do and I need to work on is I check out on it. And for you, it's like a back and forth. So when I do that, that makes you want to repeat it more and that agitates you more and gets you to a crybaby state.
You did not go there.
Yeah, I went there. They gonna learn that you're a big crybaby on this podcast. So, but it's a reciprocal vicious cycle. And for me, I express to you, when you do that to me, it makes me feel like you think I'm a little slow. Like, why you got to keep repeating the same thing to me? I got it the first time. But from your perspective, you didn't acknowledge or you didn't respond in such a way that made you feel like I got it. I mean, we had to touch on that because we resolved that personally, but maybe somebody else out there watching is going through the same issues that they talking to that man and that man is like, and she's just going, Whereas he's like, I wish she would shut the fuck up, and I got it. Because my actions after this are gonna display that I got it.
And I think that a good exercise, that if someone's out there having those same communication problems, a good exercise for that we can work on as well is when we're expressing, like if I came to you and I expressed something to you of how something made me feel, you then repeat back what I heard was, and you tell me in your own way of what you heard me say. Now, if I feel as if you did not get that the direct way, I then tell you in another way, no, that's not what I was saying. What I'm saying is.
Okay.
And then it keeps getting repeated, and some people might have to repeat this step over and over and over again until you actually are actively listening, because we sometimes we think we're listening and we're really not listening. And it's because of that listen to response method, or just shut the fuck up mentality, and I'm gonna fix it. Just, you told me what was wrong, now get over it, because we gonna fix it this way, So yeah, that's a good exercise. And then to add on what you were saying, you had made a point about the miscommunication, because what you heard me say, what you hear when I'm saying I need this from you and you're not responding, and it's like, okay, maybe he didn't understand what I said because he ain't saying nothing, so let me repeat it again or say it a little bit louder, maybe he'll hear me. And what you hear when I do that is she think I'm slow, and I think that's when I used that method on you, and you didn't know. What I heard you say was, we was in the car,
okay,
and we talked about it some more, and we talked about it some more, and when you expressed to me that feeling that you had, I was not aware that that's what I was doing was making you feel that way, until you had said it. Again, indirect communication. It took a minute for you to get there, but you told me. And I'm happy that you told me, because now I'm able to be able to look at myself and say, okay, maybe I don't need to explain it to him so many times. And maybe if we utilize this exercise where you explain to me what you feel as if you heard me say, and I'm like, okay, he got it, he's listening, he understands, that makes it better for me as well. That ties hand in hand with creating a safe space so you feel like you can express that to me. Because maybe, the reason why you're more of a indirect communicator could be rooted from your past relationships, because you felt like when you was direct, there was no resolution, or was more conflict added to it. Yeah. So I feel like that in this relationship, I've been actively working on creating this safe space for you, so that you feel like that there's nothing you won't be able to tell me. Like everybody has their moments where they might lash out and respond in a negative way. But I feel like I'm very understanding. I am teachable. So when you tell me, like even with with the whole thing of me talking loud, we had to break down that, like, why do I talk so loud? Like,
that's kudos to you. You did that.
Why does that happen? Because I know that it has been a problem in my previous relationships. However, I didn't care to change that problem because I didn't really care for those relationships. And now that I'm with somebody that I can see myself spending the rest of my life with, I don't want to project a certain energy on you that will cause negativity into your mind about me. So it's like, okay, how can I fix this? And even that same conflict that we had that day, I was getting loud because I'm thinking it's passion. Like I keep identifying as passionate, which I feel like is an unhealthy thing now that I assess it. I feel like you shouldn't identify every single loud interaction as passion.
Yeah.
Like if I'm having a conflict with my partner, like it might be a time where we have this podcast, because we will have guests on here, that some of the guests might be a little heightened, or I might get a little heightened on a particular conversation. To me, that's like a comfortable space, and that to me isn't a problem as long as it's controllable. But when I'm having conflict with my partner, it's like I don't want to feel like I'm being combative towards you. Like that should be a space where you are able to say, Chrissy, you being too loud. And I'm like, damn, okay. And I lower my tone and try to get out what I was trying to get out without feeling like, what you mean I'm too loud? You know, because we do that. Mm-hmm. So I like that we create that. Well, I like that we create that space for each other, and I'm happy that I'm in a space where I feel comfortable. I don't want to say comfortable. I feel safe enough to express myself in ways to you.
Mm-hmm. And I want to, just to get a context to the audience, is what she's talking about is it'll be like the emotions start going, the waterworks start going, the volume start getting up there, all of this and getting hyped, and it comes off, especially...
Baby, I don't punch my hand.
Yes, you do.
I will clap. I'm a clapper. I am not a puncher. I do not punch my hand.
All of this.
I did not do that.
And it comes off aggressive.
I clapped one time.
So...
okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But no, that's a good thing that you were able to catch that. And then something from what you just said, previous relationships have helped me come to this, to be able to tell you in such a way that's like, that I'm not coming off combative, because you can do that and I can match your energy. Like, why you so loud? Like, the fuck you do? Like, all of that kind of stuff. I did that.
You definitely matched that energy.
I said, why you so loud?
You said, you.
Or typically what I do is I'll be like, could you just bring it down, because it's...
No, baby, you was aggressive when you said it, but I understood.
Because we probably was about to go toe to toe.
I understood your aggression at the time because I was heightened. So because I was heightened, you like kind of matched that energy. But because I'm aware that this has been a problem, instead of matching your energy on top of you matching my energy, I just calmed down. And then we had that conversation later where I'm just like, look, I want you to let me know, because this is something that I've been dealing with all my life, of being a loud individual and dealing with conflict this way. So it's not going to fix overnight. I want you to express to me like, baby, you're getting a little loud, but can you do it in a softer way if possible? So just like I have to check myself, I want you to be able to check yourself too.
Yeah, we as fellas, we need to be able to do it without coming overpowering and condescending, because then that will trigger you.
Yeah.
And then we just in this vicious cycle. So somebody has to be the referee in that instance, to say, hey, we both chill out, let's bring it down, because you can't communicate if both parties are yelling at each other. You can't communicate if both parties are checked out or it's unbalanced. I'm talking, you checked out, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Who do you think has better resolution skills, men or women?
Men.
And why is that?
Because we're problem solvers by nature.
So that means that you have a better resolution because you want to solve a problem.
It's just innate, that like how you all are innately nurturers, we're innately protectors and problem solvers. And so that's why I have to go biased that way.
It said that women tend to focus more on rapport building when they communicate, basically to create connections and foster relationships. So we're more nurturing when we communicate. And we typically want to share experiences, give examples, and go into depth with the communication. Men have a more direct approach where they just want to go straight into problem solving mode. So, in that sense of men being problem solvers, I do agree with that. However, how you solve a problem matters, because you can think that something is solved based off the fact that you just made the judge, like the meeting adjourned. However,
that gavel.
If I'm still feeling the emotions that I was feeling to create this problem, where we created this problem, then how is it solved for me?
That's true.
And I want people to know that, like, no matter how many therapy sessions you go to, couples therapy, individual therapy, it gives you tools to utilize, but you have to do the work. You literally have to do the work. You can't think that one day you're going to wake up magically fixed, because it's not reality. That's a false reality that you will live by. And it will cause conflict in your relationship, which will lead to either a breakup or a divorce. And that's what we want to prevent from everybody, our audience, whoever our audience is. We want to make sure that you're living life intentionally. Every single day you wake up, there are intentions that you set for yourself, for your marriage, for your partnership, for life in general, for your kids, for all your relationships that you encounter, even a stranger. That's a relationship that you'll encounter just walking down the street. Everybody that you meet, you form a relationship with. And we want you guys to be very intentional so that you can live a happier, more successful, healthy, successful life. I did want to give these facts. I don't know if we're going to insert them in there or not, but I just wanted to read it because I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also from Psychology Today, and also another site called Active Beat. Women focus on building relationships through conversation. They like to share personal stories, listen actively, and use a wider range of emotions in their voice. This helps create a feeling of connection and understanding. That's what I was saying, like, to feel connected, to have that level of understanding. A woman needs to tell the story. She needs to give examples, like, so you can really understand. So when you think I'm like repeating, it's just like, I just want you to understand so that our connection can be better.
Gotcha.
It say men, on the other hand, are usually more direct and to the point. They often communicate with the goal of solving problems or getting something done. When men speak, they might not use as much emotional expression and prefer to state things clearly and assertively. Basically what you were saying. Like, let's just figure this out, and figuring it out means let's not be mad. And I heard you, we good. That's it. I didn't want to say get over it because it just seems so negative, but that's how it feels. As a woman, that's how it feels to me.
No, I like the word choice you put there. Let's not get mad.
Yeah.
I love that part of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I did give you guys one exercise that I actually utilized in our relationship and he didn't even know. It's good that he knows now, so that when there is conflict and he feels some type of way, I can repeat the same thing and vice versa. And it won't just be one-sided. But utilizing you explaining how you feel, your partner saying what I heard was, and you responding to say, yes, that's exactly what I meant, or responding, no, what I'm saying is, and repeating those steps until the person is in complete understanding of your feelings and how you feel. It's very essential to do this correctly, and it'll take time. It's not something that happens and builds overnight. It will definitely take time to get there and to utilize this in every single conflict that you want to come to a resolution situation. Another technique is called the I statement. So when you're explaining how you feel, if you feel like your partner hurt you in any type of way, don't explain in a you, but explain it in an I. I felt, not you made me feel. That is essential to not put blame, which will furthermore cause conflict in your relationship. So you're not putting blame on your partner, but you're letting your partner know the things that was said and how they made you feel. Because they're not responsible for how you feel. Only you are responsible for your feelings. But as your partner and a long time partner, they do need to know that certain things that they have done or said can cause you to feel a certain type of way. Just don't say you made me feel. Do the I.
Perfecto.
So there are several different techniques that you can utilize to build happy, healthy relationships during conflict. We won't get to them all today, but if you go to our website, Pure Intentions 314, okay. If you go to our website, pureintentions314.com, there will be an article there, a link there. It's a link. Should I say link? There will be a link under the resource page where you will find all of the great resources that you can utilize for building those relationships during conflict and keeping them healthy. So, do you have any final words?
Final words is I want to give a shameless plug to our Pure Intentions card deck. This is a great deck of cards we have several, but this is the starter icebreaker cards intended for people going on first dates, second dates, maybe third dates, to instead of that awkward silence, you can break that silence and read a card that sets you up so instead of going on a date, you ask the typical stuff. What do you do? How old are you? All of that good stuff. You want to know that. But when you want to date with intention, you want to see if this person really matches with you. And so in pulling a card like this, and vice versa, you and your mate answering these questions, you can get to know right away if they're going to be the one for you or not. And if they're not, then don't waste your time and don't feel bad about it. Friend zone them and go to someone else that fits what you are looking for in a mate. So I think right now we can do a quick question and just really quickly. So this says, what's your view on compromise and how do you handle differences?
That's so correct. I feel like this whole podcast episode was based off like what we do.
And so we don't even need to answer it. So I know you tuned in, you got all of that. So just think if going on a first date and this is the kind of questions that you're asking. And just to give you a little bit more, you go on the website, pureintentions314.com, but you can go check out the merch section and get questions like these that go deeper than what you could just typically think of and kind of vet out that person. And if this is your person, like how it happened with us, you start to open up just deeper doors that we probably wouldn't even
touched on until like 6 months.
Or even later.
6
like
months. No, you think so?
Maybe even years later.
Not with me. Like probably for a normal couple. I'm not normal. I'm just not normal. But you're probably right. I say 6 months, a year, 2 years. Some people don't even ask the hard-hitting questions. That's the questions that actually matter, because knowing your favorite book is not going to help us succeed during conflict. Like what I'm going to do, hand you a book and be like, read this your favorite after you're mad. Like not saying that there's something wrong with those questions, but when you're dating intentionally, as Sir Anthony said, when you're dating intentionally, it's a whole different ball game than just going on a date to get some free food, to probably smash afterwards or whatever your unpure intentions are. It's like setting up for success. Like, we're trying to help you guys set up for a successful, happy, healthy relationship, because conflict is definitely going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. We just want to prepare you guys for anything that might get thrown your way based off our experiences with each other and with previous relationships. So yeah, this was a great podcast. Thank you all for tuning in, for joining us once again. And you know, we will be back with more intentional dating. See you.